We are here to talk about how to actually unplug from social media your phone successfully. If you're watching this, I'm sure that you struggle with having time away from your phone too. Dopamine effect, everything was thought out behind the scenes and we all fell for it. Most people, when they try to stay away from social media, it's when they get to a point where their mental health is suffering. The problem with that is it's all great when you're not on social media for that specific amount of time, but then once the time is up, what happens? You go right back into where you were before you quit social media. Nothing changes. Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today I hope you grab your drink of choice. I have started drinking mine. We are here to talk about how to actually unplug from social media your phone successfully. The past week I've been a guinea pig for all of us, trying different things in different ways to successfully stay away from my phone. Knowing that I am more inclined to be on my phone for research, analytics, and just in general, it just makes it so much worse for my mental health. And if you're watching this, I'm sure that you struggle with having time away from your phone too. And there's no shame in that. I feel like most people are in the same boat as us. It's very difficult to unplug. The reason why we're so addicted to our phones is because our social media apps were created to make us addicted to them. The dopamine effect, everything was thought out behind the scenes and we all fell for it. But what we need to figure out is how to solve that issue. It's clearly not good for our mental health. It's taking us away from being present, for doing things that we fully enjoy, for actually being with people we want to be with versus just texting them or checking their lives, feeling as though we are part of it, but we really are not. We're basically living in an illusion. Instead of reality. Time goes by fast and life is short. So I want to make sure that for me especially, that I'm doing everything I can to break that addiction. And I hope that this video will help you do the same. The first thing that I wanted to share with you guys that I've learned is the reason why this hasn't worked for you and I in the past. Most people, when they try to stay away from social media, it's when they get to a point where their mental health is suffering. They feel mentally drained. They feel a lot of anxiety, or they start comparing their lives so much to other people that they become extremely negative and feel like their lives that they're living isn't good enough. Those are all valid feelings. We've all been there. So what we all have tried doing in the past is quitting cold turkey. We'll go, I can't take this anymore. This isn't good for me. I don't want to be here anymore. So I'm going to just quit social media for a month. The problem with that is it's all great when you're not on social media for that specific amount of time. But then once the time is up, what happens? You go right back into where you were before you quit social media. You do the exact same things you were doing before. Nothing changes. Nothing changes. So you go right back into that same old routine and eventually you get burnt out again. Eventually you start feeling bad again. Eventually you start feeling anxious again. Here's my solution and what's worked for me so far. Instead of quitting cold turkey from social media, I am time blocking social media. And what that means is I have set a daily schedule. It's the same exact schedule every single day that I am allowing myself to go on social media for a specific amount of time. I'll explain. For example, being a mom, right? My schedule is very chaotic throughout the day. In the morning, I wake up a little bit earlier so I have alone time for myself. Once I wake up, what I do is my morning routine. I wake up, I do my morning routine, which is journal, get my coffee ready, drink my water. And while I'm doing those things, I give myself permission to go and check social media if I want to. So around that alone time I have in the morning, I can check social media. Once my son wakes up and my husband takes care of the morning routine and leaves for work, I then put my phone away. And I'll explain how important this step is too, which is setting your environment. We're going to talk about that next. I put my phone away and I don't look at it until my son goes back to sleep for his first nap. That's totaled around an hour or so of social media for me versus when I used to do about 3-4 hours or more of social media per day. Now, this has allowed me to have more headspace, be more creative with my time, be more present, really strategize how I want to spend my day, which I think is extremely important. The reason why I think this will work for you too is because this is your day-to-day life. This is your lifestyle. You're going to create a schedule based on what works for you. Number 2, which could also be a number 1 here, but I'm making a number 2 in this video, is know your why. You have to have a strong, specific why as to why you are blocking time to be on social media and away from social media. If you don't have a strong enough why, you're not going to stick to this habit. I'll share an example of what my whys are so you guys can have an idea of what that looks like for you. To me, specifically with Kaiden, for example, I want him to see me and know that I'm fully there for him. Like when he is playing, we're doing play dates or whatever it is we're doing, reading or whatever, my attention is his fully, because I notice that when I am with my phone next to me, he will glance at my phone here and there. He notices there's something else there. There's a distraction. And I'm sure not only is that distracting me subconsciously, but it's also distracting him. And that is not okay. So that is my why for Kaiden. My why for me is my mental health. I notice that I am not fully present mentally, and it drains my energy when I am constantly checking social media. And it's draining my energy for the wrong reasons. I want to spend my energy doing positive things for my life, my family, for me, for you guys, and not spending my energy on consuming other people's lives that are not going to bring any value to mine. And for my husband, it's obvious, but my biggest why for him and I is my goal this year is for us to really work on connecting emotionally a little bit more. Not that we are not like super connected emotionally already, but I think there's room for growth. And as I just said before, if he's coming home and I'm on my phone, how are we going to connect emotionally? How are we going to be fully present for one another? Truly hear one another, truly be able to provide feedback if need be to one another, if our minds are somewhere else. These are my whys. I highly recommend you, before you even start, if you want to stay off your phone, if the phone is really disrupting your day, your goals, your mental health, I highly recommend you write down your why. Why do you want, and be specific on your why. By the way, if you haven't grabbed a drink of choice yet, feel free to do so. I'm having my iced coffee right now. And it's so freaking good, even though it's 30 degrees out. Number 3 is setting up your environment for success. I think that this can be so overlooked. I feel like in the past, I try to stay away. For example, when I want a quality time with my husband at night, we only have about 2 hours to spend together at night. So we'd say, okay, let's put our phones away. And what that meant for us was putting our phones like eye distance. You know, we could see our phones, we just didn't have it right next to us. What happens when you do that is you're subconsciously still thinking about the phone. Hey guys, we are on day 2 of limiting my phone access, my social media access. I have tried doing this many times before and failed. And I think the biggest reason why I failed is because of my environment, setting up my environment correctly. Before, when I used to use the settings on my phone to block social media time and access to my phone time, I still had my phone in my hand or near me, and that tempted me to go on my phone and get on social media or respond to a text right away, or whatever was the case at the time. Now, putting my phone away in my bedroom and having it charged out of sight, I swear, out of sight truly is out of mind. I don't think about it. I don't get tempted to come to my room and pick up my phone to go on social media, to check my messages. I swear, not once have I been tempted to come here to check my phone. And I think it's simply for the fact that it's not close by me, so I don't think about it. Once I realized that was something that was keeping me from reaching that goal of staying away from my phone, I have now started putting my phone in my bedroom. So what I do is during those block times when I'm not on my phone, it's in my bedroom charging. I don't think about it, you guys. I don't think about it at all when I'm not on it because I don't see it. Out of sight is truly out of mind. That is essential. This is such a key tip. If you're going to get anything out of this video, please don't forget to not have your phone near you if you're really serious about staying away from your phone. If your phone is near you, I can guarantee you're going to grab it at some point. You are going to grab it. You've grabbed it in the past. You know you have. I have. I know we all have. If it's away from you, I can guarantee you this whole week I have not thought about it once. And when you're not thinking about your phone and when it's not close by, you're not tempted to go grab it. You're not thinking about what's going on in the social media world. You're not thinking about text messages. It gives your mind that space to be creative again, to do things you enjoy, to be yourself fully without worrying about, Nancy's life or whoever is on social media. It is so freeing, and I highly recommend you don't skip this step if you're serious about staying away from your phone. If you are working an office job, my suggestion to you is just don't leave your phone on your desk. So if you normally leave your phone right next to your desktop, if you don't need your phone for work, because I know some people do, and that is tough, I don't have an answer for you, I'm sorry. But if you don't need your phone for work, then what you do is you put it away. So maybe that looks like putting your phone away in your purse, or leaving it in your car somewhere safe. If there is a safe place or a locker somewhere, I don't know, like whatever your work structure is, leave it out of sight. So you're not thinking about, you're not looking at it. If you can see your phone from wherever you are, that's wrong. You're doing it wrong. So that is my key tip for you for having a successful time away from your phone. Now, with that being said, here's another really important step to having a successful block time away from your phone. And that is, and you really can't skip this step either, letting your friends and family know that you are doing this and you're serious about it. The first thing I did a week ago when I decided to try this out was to put a post up on Instagram, because everyone I know is on Instagram. And I let them know, hey, I am doing this, and if I don't get back to you right away, if I don't get back to your DMs, if I don't get back to your text messages, this is the reason why. That was an easy way to just put out there the message like, hey, I am not going to be available 24/7 anymore. So, don't be mad. Don't be mad, or don't assume something's wrong. Everything's fine. I'm just not with my phone all the time. I think in today's world, people assume that you should reply right away. And that is such a terrible assumption, first of all. You shouldn't be available all the time. You shouldn't need to respond to a text all the time. But I think we all subconsciously feel the responsibility to, because we a lot of times do see a text come in immediately. Because if we have our phones in our hands all the time or near us, we are seeing that a message came through, an email came through, or whatever it is. So we feel inclined to respond to it right away. Again, that is taking us from what we were doing at that time and that moment in time. That's taking us from being present. It's stealing our time. Text messages, DMs, TikToks, whatever it is our friends, family are sending us throughout the day can wait. Now, if you are worried about getting, an emergency call out of nowhere or whatever it is, you can set it up on your phone so that your favorites can, on the second time they call you, the ring can go off so you can hear your phone ringing. Again, the likelihood of that happening, we're more worried about it in our minds than in actual reality. And it's not like you're going to stay away from your phone all day. So think about it. Eventually, you are getting back to your phone and checking. So if there is an urgent call, you will catch it. Maybe just not immediately, but you're going to catch it. But if that is something you're concerned with, there's always something you can do. There's always a way that you can set that up. The next thing I would do is track my screen time. I would do this before you start so that you know how long you've been on social media. I think it's nice to see the improvements that you've made. So let's say, for example, for me, I can't even show you guys anymore because it's been a week. So now it's like last week's. I don't think I can check last week's to show you. But last week's, it was like 4 or 5 hours, right, on social media. Now it's 59 minutes or an hour. So it's a huge difference. So I can see, the progress being made. And, I can also be self-aware, and I can also see the difference that it's made for my mood, my creativity levels, just being present in general. It's made such a huge difference for me. And it's only been a week. And most importantly, and I think I've said this before, I don't miss it. Those 4 hours or so that I'm no longer on social media, I don't miss those hours, because what were you actually doing during those hours? And this is another thing I would ask as you're checking your screen time. A lot of us say, I don't have time for this. I don't have time to work out. I don't have time to go for a walk. I don't have time to create, a blog, or, do a video, or, do this thing that I really wanted to do all this time. A lot of people say they don't have time for things. But then when you check your screen time, the amount of time you spend on social media, that can lead up to like a part-time job. If you're spending 4 or 5 hours on social media, that's like a part-time job, close to a full-time job. So what would you be doing with those hours instead if you were not mindlessly scrolling through social media? Because let's face it, we're not doing anything very useful with our time there. I mean, here and there, yes, like maybe you follow some positive accounts. Like I follow I Am Affirmations, which is really nice and positive. I follow some fitness accounts that are positive and motivating to me. But really, how much time do I need to spend looking at those accounts? Right? You don't really need to spend a lot of time looking at those. So if you truly ask yourself, do I really not have enough time? And if I didn't really have enough time, why am I spending 4 hours a day on social media? Like, that is a lot of time. I could be reading, I could be doing anything with that time that would be a lot more useful, a lot more productive, and make me a lot happier. Keep tracking your screen time daily to keep yourself accountable. Lastly, what I would do is create a habit to replace the social media habit. So if you're not on social media, what will you be doing with your time instead? Like, what would you like to do with that free time? Because now you have this free time in your hands, right? If you think about it, whenever we do open our apps on our phones or we go on social media, it's because we are bored. When we're bored, we tend to just go straight to our phones. So when you're bored, right, and your phone is in your bedroom or out of sight, what are you going to do to fill that time? That is really important, to create a healthy habit and get rid of an unhealthy one. You really need to think about how you can replace that bad habit. To me, it was kind of easy because I'm a stay-at-home mom. I have a toddler that is literally nonstop all day long. So when I'm not on my phone, I'm playing with him. I'm just being more present this time, because even when I was playing with him in the past, I would have my phone next to me, and I think like subconsciously I wasn't fully present, even if I wasn't on social media, because my phone was right there. I would even notice that he would glance at my phone here and there. So I bet you that even for him, it was taking away like him being fully present with me. So that is not the example I wanted to set for him. It's not the example I want to set for my baby to come. So I wanted to make sure I nipped that in the bud before, it was too late. I want to be the mom that is telling my kid, you can't be on your phone, and yet I have my phone in my hand all day long. So really you have to look yourself in the mirror and, one, recognize that you have a problem, and two, see how bad it is, check the screen time, and then, replace that bad habit with a healthy habit. So knowing your why will help you with that too. So like I mentioned earlier, just knowing your why, because anytime you want to, you're tempted to go back to that old routine that was toxic, you can think back to your whys. No, but my whys are stronger than the reasons why I want to check my phone right now. If I want to be present, I need to stick to this. If I want to be more creative, if I want to have more time to do things I fully enjoy, if I want to actually make time to see my friends in person, whatever your reasons may be, I think it's important to just always go back to those reasons. So what I would do is I would either write them down. I'm sure you're not making a video like I am, and maybe you can if you want to. But if not, write them down. Write your reasons down. Put them up somewhere where you can see every single day when you wake up or when you go to bed, so that it can remind you that, okay, like this is the person I want to be. And that hopefully will help you stick to this new habit. Honestly, this whole week, I've been so happy, so present. I have not once felt a need to go back to checking my phone all day long, mindlessly, without like a plan in mind. And to that, I would even say, like, if you're trying to nip that habit in the butt and you're like, I don't know what to do with my time, Talita. Like, usually if I'm bored, I check my phone. If I'm home, what else am I going to do if I don't have a kid or I don't have anything else? Like, maybe, you know, your house is clean, your drawers are organized, you don't really want to do all that. Maybe you've already worked out that day. You could even just, you know what, watch a Netflix movie. That is, believe it or not, more intentional than mindlessly scrolling to your phone, because you actually put some thought into choosing what you want to watch. So that is the difference between, you know, intentionally doing something and unintentionally doing something. And that is why one is worse than the other. I hope these tips were helpful to you. Again, to recap, set up your environment, make sure your phone is not in sight. That is key. 2, know your why. Why are you doing it, and be extremely specific about it. 3, block time based on your schedule. Just treat going on social media like it's a job. How many hours a day would you like to be spending on social media, and why? What are you going to be doing there on those hours? Do you need 4 hours a day, or do you need less? You know, be honest with yourself. Really, truly look yourself in the mirror during these times. These are hard conversations, but you know what? You're having it with yourself, so it's okay. Of course, don't forget to let your friends and family know so they're not worried about you when you're not checking your phone, and you're not worried about them being worried about you. And of course, make sure you track your screen time so that you are seeing your progression and proud of like this person that you're becoming, that you set out yourself to be. If you find yourself being bored and like not knowing what to do with your time, just think about what you enjoy doing. Maybe you haven't thought about that for a while. Maybe you haven't had that space. So having this free 3-4 hours per day, you know, there's so much you can do with that. You can go on that workout that you've been avoiding. You can, I don't know, write, journal. You can clean your house. You can go for a walk. You can go for a yoga class. Whatever it is that you've been wanting to do for so long and you felt like you hadn't had the time, just think of things that you'd like to do with that free time so that you're busy and you're not thinking about, oh, what do I do now? I hope this video was helpful. This has definitely been such a game changer for me, you guys. Truly, this week has been such a light week for me. I felt so present. And just less guilty too, you know, like as a mom, I feel like I'm setting a really good example for my son. As a wife, I feel like I am doing my part in being present and fully listening and being there for my husband. And for me, you know, that's my form of treating myself with kindness and, you know, giving myself that space that I need to be fully who I am and to reach my full potential as a person, you know, to be creative again, to be able to share these things with you guys and hopefully be able to help you too. So if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, share with a friend that needs to hear this today, and I will see you next time.